Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, this is the weekly radio show that informs and it educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with the Springs Real Estate Authority. That's Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's also a pilot, and she and her team enjoy all that the Springs has to offer. And it's an amazing team, Barb. I'm always bragging about you and your team. Great to be talking with you this morning. We air the Real Estate Voice show every Saturday. And if you cannot listen to the entire show, it's also available on Barb's site. That is barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search Barb Schlinker, SCHLINKER, and most popular podcast platforms like iHeart Radio, etc. Every week, the Real Estate Voice covers great information about people's primary asset, their home. So, Barb, what will we be talking about today?
Well, Richard, I've been doing more research on the market because seeing this sudden shift take place is a little surprising for everybody. I've really never seen the real estate market make a shift that quickly. However, it's not a bad shift. I honestly believe that we came from a completely unreasonable, crazy market where people were bailing out of other states, coming in here with a bucket of cash, bidding wars everywhere. Up in Denver, 100,000 over asking price was not uncommon. I only did that once with one of my listings. But to tell you the truth, that is not normal. And so we are shifting very quickly back into a more normal market, but it's still a seller's market because there is still a low supply and high demand. So the very first segment, we're going to go into some kind of macroeconomics and really talk about that. The second segment, we're going to talk about how to be the best home in your neighborhood when selling your home. So the natural tendency for people is to step on the gas for price just because they want to sell it for more. And I tell my sellers, I'd love to get you millions of dollars for your home, but the reality is the market's going to pay what the market's going to pay. But I can show you how to position the home to be the best home in the neighborhood. And that way buyers are beating a path to your door to get the house. And then the very last segment, we're going to talk about the the third segment rather, is about getting multiple cash offers on your homes. Right now, there's a good 10 to 20% of homes being purchased by Wall Street style investors. So we actually have access to those investors, and we'll talk about those programs. And then we'll also talk about the very last segment, how to sell your home for the most money in the least amount of time. Now, it was just a few months ago, or really a few weeks ago, where we were seeing bidding wars on houses across the board, right, Richard? And now that's not happening.
It's not, but you've seen the ups and downs of the market in the past couple, actually decades. So I have faith that you're able to figure this thing out and then communicate it to our listeners as well.
Yeah, so for sure. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about is what has shifted and what are we going to do about it. So the thing that was so odd in the past 2 years was COVID shutting down the economy. Everybody was locked down in their house for a while. And then all of a sudden they're realizing, hey, I can work from home. Maybe I want to change my home. And at the same time, we had a supply issue. Okay. And we had a low number of sales during that 1 year of 2020. And then people that were thinking of selling were kind of hesitant to make a move because the market was so red hot. The demand was so uber high that they were afraid that if they put their house on the market and sold it, they would have no place to go. They'd have no destination. So from the lockdown to the red hot price jumps, just in the past 4 years, according to the Federal Housing Agency, we've seen a really, really huge increase in prices. So there's been a strong demand, tight supply, and that's kept the prices climbing. What we've seen right here in El Paso County in the past year is an increase of about 15, almost 16%. Now that depends, right? That's an average across all price ranges. We've seen a huge spike in prices nationwide, in particular in what they call the Sun Belt states. So Arizona, even California is still going up. Florida, Texas, North and South Carolina, Tennessee. So the current predictions are that the price for this year is still going to go up, probably 8 to 10%. And then the projections going forward for the next couple of years are going to be 3 to 4%. And actually 3 to 4% of annual appreciation is more of a normal market. It's kind of the average annual appreciation we've seen across the past 50 years. So all of a sudden, sellers decided, okay, fine, I'm going to sell my house. So the inventory has just zoomed straight up to what it was before COVID in 2019. And that's not a bad thing because we had such low supply. The prices were stepping up so quickly that buyers were getting outbid. They were facing 10 offers on every single home. We had less supply. And so it created all these bidding wars and kind of just an unnaturally red hot sellers market. So what we're seeing right now is more supply going on the market, but not more supply than demand. Okay. So and it's just basically the basic economics of supply versus demand. If we have more supply than demand, prices might go down. If we have more demand than supply, then prices will go up. So we've been seeing that. If you look back at the average price, just since, well, this goes back to last summer, 2021, the average price was a little higher, kind of really flat until we hit early 2022. And then it just went way up. And a lot of that had to do with some buyers are like, oh my gosh, I got to get a house before the interest rates price me out of the market. And so we're starting to see a little bit of flattening in that acceleration of prices. Supply is going up, but we've had a shortage of homes for the past 2 decades. If you look over time, if you go back to like 2007, which was right before the meltdown, at that time, nationwide, there were 3.7 million homes on the market. In 2022, there's only 1 million. So we have lower supply, a higher population. We have builders building fewer homes. So in 2005, they were building over 2 million homes. In 2020, they built 1.38 million homes. We're also seeing that in the past 2 years, the foreclosures stopped, like ceased. And part of that had to do with some of the laws that were passed during COVID. And then the banks kind of took it on their own and extended the foreclosure moratorium. So there have been people sitting in their houses for years, not making payments. Now, what happens when that normalizes? Yes, we're going to see more foreclosures go on the market, but it's not enough to make up for the difference in demand, the increase in households, and the millennial generation, which is now coming of age. They're a much bigger generation than the one before them. Gen X had 55 million. The millennials have 66 million. And so we're seeing an increase in demand and an increase in the number of household formations in the US. Back in 2007, there were 116 million households. In 2020, 128 million households. So as the population grows, we're seeing a higher demand for households, an increase in the number of populations that are of age that could buy homes. And we're also seeing institutional investors buying up some inventory, which huge number. These numbers came from Freddie Mac, that all of a sudden Wall Street's like, hey, real estate's not a bad deal. I can buy an appreciating asset, rent it out, get income from it, and I don't have to worry about a 20% correction like we're seeing right now in the stock market. So a lot of these Wall Street investors are getting in the game. So if you're thinking of selling, if it's the right time for you, this is a great time to sell. And if you're thinking of buying, it's also a great time to buy before the interest rates get much higher. Prices are still going to go up. It's still a good time to buy a home, and it's a great time to sell a home. And you want to make sure that you hire a team that can guide you through not only this market shift, but get your home priced right so you get top dollar right now. I just sold a home for a client, which the home was located in School District 20, which is highly popular in this area. They listened to our guidance. We ended up getting 10 offers on that home. This is just last week, and they got $35,000 over asking price. So it could still be done if you take the right steps and follow guidance of somebody that's doing this all the time. So if you're thinking of making a move, you want to know what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, what to expect in a low supply, high demand market, then give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can reach Barb and her team at 719-301-3900. We're talking about this shift in the real estate market and the sudden increase in available homes. So, Barb, what are some things people thinking of making a move should plan for, and what should they expect?
Well, it's interesting that, when COVID broke out and towards the end of 2020, I was kind of shocked to see a real high demand for homes all the way up to $1 million. And then just a month ago, we had a high demand for homes under 800. Now it's shifted a little bit. Just 1 month later, we're seeing a high demand for homes priced under 500. So as you can see, more supply hit the market. It's starting to normalize where you're not going to necessarily see a crazy bidding war on every single home, but the key is to price it right, get it ready to go on the market. When I checked the stats just the other day, there were 2,311 total properties for sale. Now, just to put that in perspective, just a few months ago, and for all of 2021, that was a 3-digit number. We were in the hundreds, like 500, 600, the whole entire year. And that's why the prices zoomed up so fast. Now we're starting to see normal inventory levels, and we're seeing a lot more people drop their price. 23%, that's an increase from a week ago. Why is that happening? Probably because they're asking for the moon and not getting it. Almost 20% of home sellers got a contract. 15% of them sold. The number of sales dropped from a week ago. Normally the summer is our hottest time. So when we give predictions about where the market's going, really it's all local. You can look on the national basis and kind of give a rough idea on what homes are going to be selling for and whether or not we're going to have appreciation. There are some areas that are not having their prices go up for local problems, like the oil industry is getting hammered in Houston, so those prices are not going up. You don't want to look at the average increase when pricing your home. You want to make a realistic price when you're setting your home, and we can help you do that. It's not always, you can't always rely on historic sales, and you can't always rely on what happened just a few months ago when the market was red hot. You want to take the advice of somebody that's doing this day in, day out. And so if you're thinking of selling, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to be the best home in the neighborhood when you're selling your home and why that is so important.